In the depths of space, aboard a sleek starship brimming with advanced technology, a group of alien scientists clustered around a holographic projection. They studied humanity with the same meticulous attention they gave to a rare specimen or a volatile chemical reaction. To them, humans were fascinating anomalous creatures from a watery world whose behaviors often defied logic. One alien, a tall being with shimmering, translucent skin that pulsed faintly with color, gestured to the holographic display of Earth. Its voice, smooth and resonant, echoed in the chamber. Their biology is perplexing. These creatures reproduce in a manner that contradicts all known patterns across the galaxy. I propose we investigate further. The others murmured in agreement. For eons, the interstellar community had adhered to a shared understanding of biological development. Eggs were the universal constant of reproduction. Whether housed in protective shells, suspended in liquid, or contained in pods, eggs were the building blocks of life as the aliens knew it. Yet here was a species humans that broke this sacred rule. Weeks of study had yielded little clarity. Humans didn't lay eggs. They didn't hatch from pods or emerge from spores. This revelation sent shockwaves through the alien academic community. Were humans even natural beings? Or were they some kind of biological anomaly? The answers remained frustratingly out of reach. Now the aliens planned to go straight to the source. They would invite a group of humans aboard their vessel under the pretense of a cultural exchange. But their true goal was to uncover the mystery of human reproduction once and for all. On Earth, the invitation was met with curiosity and excitement. A handful of individuals were selected to represent humanity. Among them was a biologist, eager to share knowledge, and a linguist fascinated by the nuances of alien communication. None of them knew the true intent behind the visit, though they suspected the aliens' interest in humans went beyond mere diplomacy. When the humans arrived aboard the alien ship, they were awestruck by its grandeur. Towering walls made of iridescent materials shimmered like liquid starlight. The air hummed with energy, and alien lifeforms of varying shapes and sizes moved gracefully through the halls. Despite the aliens' imposing presence, their demeanor was welcoming, almost reverent. The leader of the alien delegation approached, its towering form glowing faintly with hues of curiosity. It spoke in perfect Earth standard language, a testament to their deep study of humanity. "Welcome, travelers from Earth. We are honored to host you. Our cultures have much to learn from one another." The humans exchanged polite smiles and nodded, but they could sense an undercurrent of tension. The aliens' movements, though smooth, seemed calculated. Their gazes lingered a moment too long, especially when they looked at the humans' torsos, as if searching for something hidden beneath their clothing. As the days passed, the aliens hosted discussions on everything from philosophy to technology. The humans marveled at their hosts' knowledge but grew increasingly puzzled by their obsessive questioning about Earth's biology. "Your species is unique," one alien remarked during a casual meal. Its tone was mild, but its luminous eyes betrayed an intensity. "We have studied countless lifeforms, yet none are like you. Tell us, how does your young emerge?" The question, though phrased innocently, hung in the air like a thundercloud. The humans hesitated. The biologist finally answered, choosing his words carefully. "Humans don't hatch from eggs. Our reproduction is different from what you're describing." The aliens exchanged glances, their bioluminescent bodies flickering in what the humans were beginning to recognize as a sign of unease. One alien tilted its head. "Different how?" The biologist cleared his throat. "Well, human reproduction involves live birth. The young develop internally and are born as fully formed infants." The aliens froze. Their luminous glow dimmed to a muted gray, a sign of collective shock. "No eggs?" one alien whispered, its voice barely audible. "No eggs," the biologist confirmed. The silence that followed was suffocating. The humans shifted uncomfortably as the aliens stared at them as though they had revealed a cosmic secret. Then, without warning, the aliens began to murmur among themselves, their voices rising in urgency. "This changes everything," one hissed. "Impossible. How do they protect their young without an external casing?" Another demanded. "Perhaps their biology is unstable," suggested a third, its glow flickering erratically. The humans exchanged uneasy glances. The tension was palpable now, the aliens' fascination bordering on obsession. The biologist leaned toward the linguist and whispered, "I think we've accidentally blown their minds." Later that evening, the humans were escorted to their quarters, but the atmosphere had shifted. The aliens' once friendly demeanor was now tinged with suspicion and unease. The humans couldn't shake the feeling that they were being closely monitored. Meanwhile, in the alien ship's central chamber, the leaders gathered to discuss the shocking revelation. "If humans do not lay eggs," one leader began, "then their entire evolutionary trajectory is an outlier. Could this explain their resilience? Their unpredictable nature?" Another leader nodded. "Their live birth system suggests a closer connection to their offspring. This could be the source of their fierce protective instincts and their rapid societal advancement. But it also makes them dangerous." "How so?" a younger alien asked. "Because they defy our understanding of life itself. If they can survive and thrive outside the constraints of our biological norms, what else are they capable of?" The debate raged late into the night, with no consensus reached. But one thing was clear: the aliens' view of humanity had shifted dramatically. What began as scientific curiosity had morphed into something deeper, a mix of fear, awe, and uncertainty. Back in their quarters, the humans tried to unwind, but the weight of the day's events lingered. The linguist turned to the biologist, her brow furrowed. "Do you think they see us as a threat now?" The biologist hesitated. "I think they see us as something they don't understand. And in their world, what they don't understand, they fear." As the humans prepared for another round of cultural exchanges the following day, they couldn't shake the feeling that their time aboard the ship was heading toward a pivotal moment, one that could either strengthen the bond between their species or shatter it completely. The humans woke early the next day, the tension from the previous night still lingering in the air. Despite the aliens' polite smiles and warm gestures, it was clear something had shifted. The biologist, sitting at a small table in their shared quarters, tapped absent-mindedly on his data pad, replaying yesterday's conversation over and over in his mind. "What are they so afraid of?" he muttered. The linguist, leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, frowned. "It's not just fear. It's like they're disturbed. Like we violated some unspoken rule of the universe. Or shattered their worldview," the biologist replied, setting his pad down. "It's one thing to study a species from a distance. But when you come face to face with something that breaks all your assumptions, you panic," the linguist finished for him. She sighed, staring out the small window at the endless expanse of stars. "Still, it's strange. Why are they so hung up on eggs?" We explained live birth as simply as we could. "It's biology, not witchcraft." "Maybe to them, it might as well be witchcraft," the biologist said. "Their whole understanding of life seems to revolve around eggs. If that's the universal constant for them, we're the anomaly." A soft chime interrupted their conversation. The door slid open, revealing one of their alien escorts, a being with flowing, sinewy limbs and an aura of calm curiosity. Its voice was smooth and practiced, its earth language precise. "Honored guests, we invite you to another session of cultural exchange. The Council has prepared questions to deepen our understanding." The humans exchanged a glance. They could sense the undercurrent of intensity in the invitation, but refusing wasn't an option. With a shared nod, they followed their escort down the winding, glowing corridors of the ship. The council chamber was as grand as it was intimidating. Towering walls shimmered with holographic projections of distant galaxies, and a circular table sat at the center, surrounded by alien leaders whose bioluminescent forms flickered with a kaleidoscope of emotions. The humans took their seats, the weight of 100 watchful eyes pressing down on them. One of the council members leaned forward, its glowing form radiating shades of pale blue, a sign of calm, they had learned. Its voice was deliberate and measured. We have reflected on your explanation of human reproduction. It is unprecedented. Tell us, how does your species ensure survival without the external protection of an egg? The biologist chose his words carefully. Our young develop inside the parent's body, which provides protection and nourishment. The process ensures they are strong and capable of surviving in our environment. The aliens murmured amongst themselves, their tones a mix of fascination and unease. Another council member spoke up, its light flickering with subtle hints of green curiosity tinged with disbelief. This method seems fragile. How does your species endure such vulnerability? The linguist leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. Humans are resilient. Our communities care for one another. We protect our young fiercely. It's not just biology, it's a part of who we are. The response seemed to ripple through the room. The aliens exchanged glances, their colors shifting in unreadable patterns. One of the younger council members spoke hesitantly. Is this why your species has thrived despite your planet's volatility? The storms, the predators, the scarcity of resources? Perhaps, the biologist said. Earth is challenging, but those challenges shaped us. We've learned to adapt, to survive. It's part of why we've reached the stars. The room fell silent. The humans could feel the weight of the aliens' stares, their luminous eyes probing for truths that went deeper than words. It wasn't just about reproduction anymore. The aliens were grappling with something bigger, something that unsettled the very foundation of their understanding. Finally, the council leader spoke, its tone tinged with an authority that silenced the murmurs. Humans are unlike any species we have encountered. Your methods, your resilience. They defy logic. And yet they work. This is both remarkable and troubling. Why troubling? The linguist asked, her voice steady despite the tension. The leader hesitated, its glow dimming slightly. Because it suggests that the laws we believed governed all life are not as universal as we thought. If one species can defy those laws, what else is possible? The humans had no answer. The silence that followed was thick with unspoken fears and unanswered questions. After the session, the humans were escorted back to their quarters, but the unease lingered. The aliens were clearly struggling with more than biological curiosity. It was as if the very existence of humanity challenged something fundamental about their worldview. That evening, as the humans tried to unwind, the biologists voiced what they were all thinking. I think we're a threat to them. Not in the traditional sense, but in the way our existence forces them to rethink everything they know. The linguist nodded slowly. They've probably spent millennia believing life follows a specific pattern. Then we come along and break the mold. It's no wonder they're shaken. As they talked, a soft hum filled the room, and the ship's lights dimmed. The humans froze, their instincts kicking in. The biologist moved to the console on the wall, tapping it cautiously. What's going on? Before they could speculate further, their escort reappeared, its form glowing a faint yellow, an emotion they hadn't seen before. Please remain calm. There is an anomaly. What kind of anomaly? The linguist asked, her voice sharp. The alien hesitated. Its light flickering. A vessel is approaching. Its configuration matches none in our records. We suspect it may be connected to your kind. The humans exchanged startled glances. Another human ship? Here? But how? They hadn't expected any backup, let alone contact from Earth. The escort motioned for them to follow, leading them to an observation deck. Through the transparent wall, they saw the vast emptiness of space and a sleek, angular ship cutting through the void like a blade. It was unmistakably human in design, its hull glinting with the reflective plating that marked Earth's engineering. The aliens around them shifted uneasily, their bioluminescent bodies flickering with colors that the humans couldn't decipher. The tension in the room was palpable, a silent clash of worlds on the brink of something monumental. The linguist turned to their escort, her voice steady but demanding. "What are you going to do?" The alien hesitated, its form dimming. "We will communicate. But we must understand. Is this vessel hostile?" The biologist shook his head firmly. "If it's one of ours, it's not here to attack. Humans don't operate that way." The alien seemed unconvinced, its light flickering erratically. "Nevertheless, we must proceed with caution. Your kind has already proven unpredictable." As the alien ship prepared to hail the approaching vessel, the humans stood in tense silence, watching as two worlds prepared to collide. The mystery of why the ship had come and what it might mean for humanity's fragile relationship with their alien hosts remained unanswered. For now, all they could do was wait, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them like the vastness of space itself. The observation deck buzzed with energy as the alien council prepared to make contact with the approaching human vessel. The humans stood to one side, their hearts pounding with a mix of relief and dread. It was a sight they hadn't expected, a human ship appearing so deep in alien territory. What could have prompted this? The sleek vessel slowed, gliding into position just beyond the shimmering boundary of the alien ship's energy field. Its hull bore the unmistakable insignia of Earth, a vivid reminder of home amidst the cold vastness of space. Yet, something about its arrival felt off. It wasn't broadcasting any standard signals or following typical Earth protocols for peaceful engagement. The alien leader stepped forward, its bioluminescent form glowing a steady blue, a calculated calmness masking underlying tension. "We will attempt to communicate now. Stay silent unless addressed." The linguist gave a small nod, her stomach twisting with unease. The aliens activated their communication system, and a holographic screen blinked to life, displaying a crackling image of the human vessel's bridge. Figures were visible in the shadows, but their faces were obscured. "This is the galactic delegation," the alien leader announced, its voice resonating with authority. "Identify yourselves and state your purpose." The screen flickered, the figures remaining still. Then a voice came through, distorted but undeniably human. "This is the Earth vessel Resolute. We are here to retrieve our people." The linguist and biologist exchanged sharp glances. Retrieve them? They hadn't sent any distress signals, and as far as they knew, their presence on the alien ship was entirely diplomatic. Why would Earth send a rescue mission? The alien leader's glow darkened slightly, a sign of unease. "Your people are not in danger. They are our guests. Why have you approached unannounced?" The voice on the screen didn't respond immediately. When it did, there was a coldness to it that sent a chill down the human spines. "We know your species has been studying our people. Observing. Interrogating. We're here to ensure their safety." The biologist took a step forward, his voice urgent but controlled. "We're safe. There's no need for hostility. This is a misunderstanding." The screen flickered again, and the shadowed figure leaned closer to the camera. "Perhaps. But we've learned not to trust unknown species so easily." The tension in the room thickened. And the alien leader turned to the humans, its light shifting to a pale yellow. "What is the meaning of this? Have you summoned reinforcements without our knowledge?" "No," the linguist said quickly, her voice firm but pleading. "We didn't even know this ship was coming. Please, you have to believe us." The alien leader's glow pulsed erratically, the stress of the situation visibly affecting it. "Your arrival here was under the banner of peace. If this is an act of deception, it's not." The biologist interrupted. "We don't know why they're here, but I swear, we haven't done anything to betray your trust." Before the leader could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A voice in the alien language filled the room, sharp and urgent. The linguist didn't need a translator to understand. The message was clear: the human ship had powered up its weapons. The council erupted in chaotic murmurs, their bioluminescent bodies flashing in frantic colors. The alien leader raised its voice, attempting to restore order. Prepare defenses. But do not engage unless they fire. The humans stood frozen, their minds racing. Why would an Earth ship escalate things like this? Was it some kind of misunderstanding, or was there more going on than they realized? The biologist turned to their alien escort, his voice low but firm. We need to speak with them. Let us send a message. If we can explain, maybe we can stop this before it gets out of hand. The escort hesitated, its form flickering with uncertainty. Finally, it gestured to the console. You may try. The biologist stepped forward, his hands trembling slightly as he activated the microphone. This is Dr. Alan Carter aboard the Galactic Delegation's ship. To the Resolute, stand down. I repeat, stand down. There is no threat here. You're risking an interstellar incident. There was a long pause, the silence almost unbearable. Then the voice from the Resolute responded, colder than before. Dr. Carter, you're out of your depth. You don't know what these aliens are capable of. The linguist stepped forward, her voice sharp. And you do? You're endangering a peaceful mission based on paranoia. If you fire, you'll make enemies of a species that's shown us nothing but hospitality. The screen flickered again, and the shadowed figure leaned back, its silence heavy with doubt. But before they could respond, the alarms blared louder. A second message in the alien language came through, and this time, the biologist's translator caught enough words to piece it together. Energy field breached. Hostile boarding detected. The room erupted into chaos. The aliens scrambled to respond, their glowing bodies flashing with alarm as they prepared for an imminent threat. The humans were quickly surrounded by their escorts, who formed a protective barrier. What's happening? The linguist demanded, her voice rising with panic. The alien leader turned to them, its glow a deep crimson. Your vessel has launched a boarding party. We are under attack. The humans were stunned. A boarding party? From their own people? It didn't make sense. The Resolute had been sent to retrieve them, not to start a war. Had Earth miscalculated the situation so badly, or was there another agenda at play? Before they could process what was happening, the doors to the chamber burst open, and figures in sleek, armored suits stormed in. Their movements were precise and efficient, their weapons trained on the aliens. The leader of the boarding party stepped forward, its helmet obscuring their face. Stand down, the figure commanded, their voice amplified and cold. We're taking our people. The alien leader stood firm, its glow blazing with defiance. You will not harm my crew. This is a violation of our agreement. The room crackled with tension as both sides faced off, weapons drawn. The humans stepped forward, trying desperately to defuse the situation. Stop! The biologist shouted, his voice echoing in the tense silence. This is a mistake. We're not in danger. No one needs to get hurt. The armored figure hesitated, their weapon lowering slightly. Dr. Carter, you don't understand. These aliens are not what they seem. The linguist shook her head, stepping closer. And you don't understand what you're doing. If you fire one shot, you'll doom any chance of peace between Earth and the galaxy. The standoff held for a heartbeat longer, the room pulsing with unspoken threats and fragile trust. Then, without warning, one of the alien guards moved, its weapon raised in defense. A shot fired, and chaos erupted. The humans dove for cover as the chamber became a battlefield. Flashes of light and the hum of energy weapons filled the air. The biologist and linguist clung to each other, their hearts racing as they watched two worlds collide in a storm of fear and misunderstanding. As the battle raged, one question burned in their minds: could this be stopped before it was too late? Or had humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy already turned into a disaster? Amid the chaos, the humans huddled together, their instincts screaming for them to stay low and out of the line of fire. The room was alive with streaks of light and the hiss of alien energy weapons meeting human tech. But even in the heart of the conflict, the linguist noticed something strange. The alien guards weren't aiming to kill. Their shots were precise, calculated to disable rather than destroy. It was as if they were trying to contain the situation without escalating it further. The same could not be said for the human boarding party. Their movements were sharp, their weapons set to lethal output. The lead figure barked commands, their voice cutting through the chaos. Secure the targets. Neutralize any threats. The linguist's mind raced. Targets could only mean her and the biologist. But why? What kind of mission had Earth truly sent this team on? This wasn't a rescue, it was an extraction. Yet, even that didn't make sense. They weren't prisoners. They were here willingly. What was Earth afraid of? Before she could voice her questions, one of the armored soldiers spotted them. I have visual! The soldier shouted, rushing toward them. The linguist felt a surge of panic, but before the soldier could reach them, an alien guard leapt in their path, deflecting the weapon's aim with a swift, fluid motion. The linguist's breath caught as she realized the guard wasn't just defending the aliens. It was defending them. The biologist grabbed her arm, pulling her behind a console for cover. What's going on? He demanded, his voice shaky but urgent. Why would Earth send a kill team for us? None of this makes sense. She shook her head, her thoughts a whirlwind. I don't know. But this isn't a rescue. There's something they're not telling us. Something they don't want the aliens to know. As they crouched behind the console, the alien leader's voice rang out, amplified and commanding. Stop this madness. Your aggression will only lead to mutual destruction. There is more at stake than your limited understanding. The leader's words carried a weight that silenced the room, if only for a moment. Even the armored figure seemed to hesitate. But the pause was short-lived. You don't know what you're dealing with, the human commander responded, their voice laced with urgency. Your experiments have consequences you can't begin to comprehend. The alien leader turned its glowing gaze to the humans hiding behind the console. What experiments? It demanded, its voice sharp with accusation. Explain. Now. The biologist opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, a deafening boom reverberated through the ship. The floor trembled beneath them, and the walls shimmered with a ripple of energy as the ship's shields absorbed the impact. The linguist's heart sank. Something had just fired on the alien vessel, and it wasn't the boarding party. This was something bigger. The commander's voice crackled over the comms, directing the boarding team. Phase 2 initiated. We've lost the element of surprise. Prepare for extraction. The biologist's eyes widened. Phase 2? What's Phase 2? Before she could respond, the alien leader's glow turned a deep, ominous red. You've brought your war to our ship. You've doomed yourselves. The biologist stepped forward, desperation clear in his voice. We didn't ask for this. Please, there has to be a way to stop it. What's happening? The alien leader's gaze softened slightly, a faint flicker of its earlier blue glow returning. Your people are not the first to attempt to take what is not theirs. But they may be the last. The linguist felt a chill run through her. What does that mean? Before the leader could answer, the ship's systems flared to life, and a low, resonant hum filled the air. The biologist recognized it instantly. That's not a weapon system, he said, his voice trembling. That's an evacuation protocol. The alien leader confirmed his fears. We will not allow this conflict to destroy us. We will leave this place. But your people will not follow. The linguist felt a pang of dread. If the aliens abandon the ship, What would happen to the humans still aboard? What would happen to her and the biologist? The commander's voice cut through the rising tension. Team, prepare to deploy the countermeasure. We can't let them escape. The linguist's blood ran cold. Countermeasure? She whispered, her voice barely audible. What countermeasure? The answer came in the form of a small, cylindrical device one of the soldiers produced from their pack. The linguist didn't recognize it, but the alien leader did. Its glow turned a brilliant, blinding white, the equivalent of a human shout of horror. You dare! It roared. You would risk the destruction of us all? The linguist turned to the biologist, her voice urgent. What is that thing? What does it do? He shook his head, his expression grim. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's bad. The alien leader moved faster than the linguist thought possible, its form a blur as it lunged toward the soldier holding the device. But the soldier was ready. With a quick motion, they activated the device, and a pulse of energy rippled outward, sending the alien leader sprawling. The linguist and biologist could only watch in stunned silence as the device began to glow, its hum growing louder with each passing second. The alien guards faltered, their movements sluggish and uncoordinated. Whatever the device was, it was affecting them in ways the humans couldn't yet understand. The commander stepped forward, their voice calm but firm. This is your only warning. Stand down and allow us to leave with our people, or we'll activate the device fully. You won't survive the consequences. The alien leader struggled to its feet, its glow dim but defiant. You think you control this technology? You are fools playing with forces beyond your comprehension. The linguist felt a surge of anger. Stop! She shouted, stepping out from behind the console. This has gone far enough. If you activate that thing, you'll destroy any chance of peace. You'll doom us all. The room fell silent, all eyes on her. The commander hesitated, their weapon lowering slightly. And what would you have us do? Surrender? Let them continue their experiments unchecked? The linguist shook her head, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her. No. But there has to be another way. We need to talk to understand each other. This isn't just about us. It's about the future of both our species. For a moment, it seemed like her words might reach them. But the commander's voice hardened. It's too late for that. We're out of time. Before anyone could respond, the ship shook violently, and the lights flickered. The alien leader's voice filled the room, laced with a mix of anger and sorrow. You have awakened the Guardian. May your actions bring you the understanding you seek. The linguist's heart sank as the walls around them began to shift, the alien ship coming alive in a way she'd never seen before. The biologist grabbed her arm, his voice trembling. What's happening? She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know. But I think we're about to find out. The ship trembled again, more violently this time. The lights flickered and dimmed, casting eerie shadows across the room. The alien leader's form pulsed with an intensity that matched the building chaos, its luminescence a steady, furious glow. The hum of the mysterious device continued to reverberate through the air, its resonance now shaking the walls, the floors, and the very fabric of the alien vessel. The biologist and linguist stood frozen, their eyes wide with dread. The alien leader staggered to its feet, each movement full of desperation, but the ship was no longer responding to their commands. Something else was in control. Something ancient. Something far more powerful than anyone aboard the ship could have predicted. Stop the device! The alien leader shouted, but it was too late. The device's hum grew louder, more insistent, until it was almost deafening. The walls around them began to twist and warp as if the very structure of the ship was bending under an unseen force. The humans and aliens alike were caught in the storm of energy that seemed to pulse from the device at the center of the chaos. The commander of the boarding party, still clutching the now activated device, looked around with wide eyes. "What have we done?" they muttered, as if realizing the gravity of their mistake. They attempted to deactivate the device, but the controls were no longer responding. Every second that passed, the ship seemed to lose more of its stability. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the tremors stopped. The lights flickered back to life, and a deep, unnatural silence settled over the ship. Everyone stood still, stunned, trying to process what had just happened. The alien leader, still glowing, was the first to break the silence. "You have awakened the Guardian," it said, its voice a low, almost mournful whisper. "This was not our doing. It was never meant for you." Before anyone could ask what it meant, the center of the room opened up, revealing an enormous crystal that pulsed with light. The air grew colder, and the ground beneath their feet seemed to shift. The crystal began to hum, and the walls around them seemed to warp again, this time more violently, as if something vast was stirring within the ship. The linguist felt her breath catch in her throat. "What is that thing?" she whispered to the biologist, her voice barely audible. The biologist stared at the crystal, his face pale. "I don't know, but I think it's what the aliens were afraid of. This Guardian. It's not a weapon. It's something far worse." Suddenly, the crystal flared with blinding light, and from its core, a voice boomed throughout the ship. It was not human, not alien, but something older, something primordial. The voice reverberated through their bones, sending chills down their spines. "Intruders," the voice intoned, its tone cold and commanding. "You have trespassed upon the sacred vessel. You have awakened the Guardian, and now you must face the consequences of your actions." The humans and aliens alike stood frozen, unable to move or speak. The energy in the room crackled with a palpable tension. The crystal's light dimmed, and a shadow began to form at its base, a figure, tall and imposing, slowly taking shape in the center of the room. Its form was ethereal, a silhouette of pure energy, but its presence was suffocating. It loomed over them, an entity from beyond the stars, something far older and more powerful than any species in the galaxy. The alien leader took a step back, its glow dimming, a clear sign of fear. "We didn't mean to disturb you," it said, its voice shaking. "We were only studying your power." The figure in the crystal looked down at the alien leader, its voice a whisper that echoed in the chamber. "You dared to disturb the slumber of the Guardian. You too will be judged." The alien leader's glow flickered. "Please, we never meant to wake it. We only wanted to learn." The figure in the crystal ignored the plea, its gaze sweeping over the humans. "You too have trespassed. You too shall be judged." The humans stood motionless, their minds racing. The biologists exchanged a look with the linguist, their eyes wide with fear. This wasn't just about the aliens anymore. The very existence of their species was on the line. If this entity had the power to destroy worlds, what chance did they have? The air grew heavier, the pressure mounting. The crystal's hum intensified, and the energy around them seemed to warp. The humans could feel it in their chests, a growing weight, as if the very fabric of reality was being altered. The commander of the boarding team, still clutching the device, spoke with a tremor in their voice. "Please don't do this. We didn't mean for any of this to happen." The figure in the crystal turned its gaze toward them. "You are not the ones who awakened me," it said. "But you will carry the weight of your actions. And so your judgment shall come." The crystal flared to life once more, the light blinding, and the ground beneath them trembled as if the very ship was being torn apart. The aliens and humans scrambled to find cover, but the energy was all-encompassing. No matter where they turned, they could feel it. The judgment was coming. And then, with an earth-shattering roar, the crystal shattered, sending waves of energy cascading through the ship. The figure in the center collapsed into a cloud of light, its power imploding as the crystal broke apart. A final, bone-shaking wave of energy swept through the room, and everything went dark. For a moment, there was silence. No hum of energy. No glowing light. Just the stillness of space. The humans and aliens lay on the floor, dazed but alive. Slowly, they began to stir, realizing they had somehow survived the cataclysmic surge. The alien leader, its glow flickering weakly, looked around in disbelief. "It's over," it whispered. "It's gone." But the humans and the aliens both knew that something had changed. The ship had been irrevocably altered, and the Guardians had passed judgment. The galaxy would never be the same. As they made their way toward the exit, the biologist whispered, "We've learned more than we wanted to. And I fear this isn't over." Before they could speak further, a new voice, human but unfamiliar, crackled through their comms. "This is Earth Command. We've been monitoring your mission. Stand by for further instructions." The linguist's blood ran cold. "What now?" she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. The voice on the comms answered with chilling finality. "We've seen enough. Prepare for extraction. The true mission begins now." And with those words, the humans realized they were not just pawns in a larger game. The real battle was just beginning. The tension in the air was thick as the humans and aliens aboard the ship processed the final message from Earth Command. They had narrowly survived the catastrophic energy surge, and now, a new order was descending on them. As the ship's systems slowly powered up, the once bustling alien vessel was eerily quiet, the crew uncertain of what to do next. The biologist, still shaken but resolute, turned to the alien leader. "You heard them," he said quietly. "We're not done yet. Earth Command has plans for us." The alien leader nodded, its form dimmer than before, but its voice still carrying a hint of fear. "What plans?" the linguist asked, her voice soft. "What does it all mean?" The alien leader paused before speaking again. "I don't know, but this ship, this technology, it's more than just a weapon. It's part of something much larger, something that humans are now a part of." It looked at the humans, its glowing eyes reflecting an odd mix of respect and anxiety. And that guardian, whatever it wasn't just a force of nature. It was a signal. A warning. The biologist looked out through the view screen, staring into the void of space. "We've crossed a line," he muttered. "One we can't go back from." As the crew gathered around the command deck, the quiet hum of the ship's engines was interrupted by the sharp tone of a new incoming transmission. It was Earth Command again, their voices clear, firm, and authoritative. "This is Earth Command. Prepare to be extracted immediately. The consequences of your mission have been evaluated, and we are now initiating the next phase of operations. Remain where you are." The linguist looked at the biologist, her face pale. "What's happening? What did we awaken?" The biologist didn't have an answer. "I think we've only scratched the surface." The alien leader, still absorbing the weight of the situation, whispered, "You humans. You have the potential to change everything. You've already disrupted the balance." The humans exchanged glances, each one now fully aware of the magnitude of the events unfolding. They weren't simply explorers or researchers anymore. They were participants in a cosmic game that no one had prepared them for. And Earth Command was not the benevolent force they had once believed it to be. Outside, the stars continued to shine, indifferent to the chaos below. But for the humans aboard the alien ship, everything had changed. Earth's influence in the galaxy was about to grow exponentially, but at what cost? They would need to face the consequences of their actions, and the road ahead was unclear. The ship's systems suddenly flared to life, and the crew felt the ship move beneath them. The alien vessel, once an imposing structure of alien power, was now being drawn by an unseen force. The humans braced themselves for the extraction. Whatever Earth Command had planned, it was coming for them now. In the distant reaches of space, the stars continued their endless dance. The humans had crossed the threshold, one that would reshape their understanding of the universe. They had challenged the guardians of the galaxy, and in doing so, they had awakened something far older and more powerful than they could have imagined. As the alien leader's form flickered one final time, it looked at the humans with a mixture of admiration and apprehension. "I never thought humans could be so fearless," it said softly. "But you've now entered a path no one has dared to walk." The biologist nodded, his mind racing. "What comes next is beyond our control. Whatever Earth Command has planned, we won't be the same after this." A sudden jolt shook the ship as it made its final approach. The humans and aliens alike held on, preparing for the unknown that awaited them. The sense of danger that had been building ever since the ship's disturbance was now at its peak. They were about to cross into a new reality, one where their survival, their morality, and their very future were at stake. The human ship began to fold into a massive transport beam, lifting them out of the alien vessel and into the dark abyss of space. The once bright stars dimmed as the ship began its journey back to Earth. The journey was silent but laden with anticipation. Everyone on board knew that nothing would ever be the same again. For the aliens, the price of meddling with the humans had been steep. They had been forced to confront something ancient, something beyond their comprehension. The Guardian, once dormant and sealed away, had unleashed its wrath. Now, they were left to wonder what Earth Command had been hiding all along. As the ship entered Earth's orbit, a final message crackled through the comms, this time coming from an unfamiliar voice, one that radiated power. "This is the Central Command of Earth's Galactic Directorate. You have completed your task, but understand this, you are now part of a much larger plan. You have been tested, and your survival means that you will be part of the new order we are creating. You, along with the alien species you've encountered, will serve a role in the coming era. Your place in this galaxy is no longer just as explorers, but as catalysts of change." The humans stood in stunned silence as the voice faded away. There was no going back now. They had awakened something far beyond their understanding. The universe had taken notice of them, and now they would play a part in its unfolding future. The finality of the message was overwhelming, but there was a strange sense of anticipation that hung in the air. Earth had plans, grand plans, and they had been chosen to carry them out. As the ship finally docked and the humans disembarked, they were greeted not by familiar faces, but by the cold efficiency of Earth's new command. The biologist and the linguist exchanged one last look before they were ushered into the shadows of the unknown. The galaxy had shifted, and they had a front row seat to the changes yet to come. The mysteries of the stars, the power of the Guardians, and the true role of Earth were still to be revealed. One thing was certain: humanity had crossed the threshold. The future was no longer just a distant dream, it was happening now. And as they stepped into the unknown, one thought lingered in their minds: whatever lay ahead, they would face it together.